Today's guest shares stories that will leave you stunned. Just a few weeks ago, he literally stepped in to save someone's life. Years ago, his dreams of being a sports star were crushed when he was nearly crushed by an 18-wheeler. On more than one occasion, he has had to rebuild from scratch, and each time he has persevered. Our guest is the publisher of Wayne Lifestyle magazine, reaching over 80,000 readers every month. But his story goes way deeper than media. In this episode, you'll hear how he built his business from scratch during COVID. We also get into one of the most creative marketing plays you'll ever hear, when he stepped into a live professional wrestling match to promote his brand. We talk about empathy as a superpower, building real relationships, and how he's creating real impact in his community, and how to keep going no matter the circumstances. So get ready for some wild stories and real entrepreneurial insight.
Hey everyone, welcome to Business Unchained, where entrepreneurs and business owners come together to power up on their journey to greatness. My name is Bobby Mascia, owner of many businesses, including my passion, a wealth management firm that specializes in helping entrepreneurs. My life totally changed when I made a conscious decision to design my businesses to run themselves, not me and my time. If you're looking to get unchained from your business, make more money, and have more time, listen to the experiences of other successful entrepreneurs here on Business Unchained.
Bobby Mascia is the founder and CEO of Greenridge Wealth Planning. All opinions expressed by Bobby and his guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinion of Greenridge Wealth Planning. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for any financial decisions. Clients of Greenridge Wealth Planning may maintain positions in any securities discussed in this podcast. Please welcome Phil Barone.
So 2 Wednesdays ago, I was driving to a networking meeting from my house. I live up in Sussex County. And I saw on this road, people jog all the time on it. It's a nice, long, little hilly road. And there was a woman running, saw a man running, and kind of chuckled. I'm like, oh, he's going to pass her in like a second. And he got up behind her and he punches her in the back of the head.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, what just happened? She stumbles a bit. He stops and he's just walking. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I considered like sideswiping him, but I'm like, I might hit her too. So I got out, I gunned it, hit the gas, got in front of them, pulled over diagonally onto the side, got between them. He is irate, livid, screaming and yelling, and he's out of his mind. I'm trying to calm them down. About 25 seconds in, he pulls out a hunting knife.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, okay, this is where we're at right now. And takes a big swing at me with it, very wide. And he's not very coordinated because he's so irate, you know? So I usually avoid it. I hit him in the face. And then I remembered everything. My son and I watch these videos sometimes of what to do in this situation, what to do here. And I remember they keep saying, just keep your eye on the knife the whole time.
Yeah.
Whatever's going to happen, happens. Don't look away from that. So you can get cut and not like stuck with it, you know?
Right.
And so I'm just watching his right hand the whole time, knowing I'm going to get clocked. And I do. He hits me with his left in my head. But when he does it, kind of shoves me to the side. I grab the wrist with the knife in it with my hand. And then I hit him in the face and the stomach. Took him down and kept him pinned down with the knife pinned down to the ground until the cops came, my elbow in his throat. It was a domestic dispute. She was running for her life. It wasn't a robbery or something. He was going to kill her.
Oh my God.
It was unbelievable. That's just 2 Wednesdays ago. Isn't that crazy?
I don't even know where to go from
I know.
there.
Top that.
So you're like a hero.
Bro, I was more just like, oh no, I'm going to get stabbed.
Wait, so I was just looking at new issue of Wayne Lifestyle came out. How come you're not on the cover? Hero saves the day.
Well, it just happened. I work a couple months in advance, but I also don't know what that's going to lead to. You know, unfortunately, I was sitting with somebody the next day who's, I think, been a victim of that sort of thing herself. And she goes, over 70%, I think she said over 70, let's say over 70% don't actually press charges, which is unbelievable. I thought about it. You don't self-promote in this. Like you don't, unless it's something that's more fun, but you don't do something like that. But I would be a little afraid to do that because it could bite her or it could hurt somebody, So I don't want to do that one.
I mean, just think about how many people, over 70% don't press charges. I'd love to know how many people would have just kept driving.
That's what everybody that I've talked to has said. They're like, I never would have stopped. I'm like, I didn't even think about not stopping. I didn't think there was going to be a weapon involved, right? I thought it was literally just, he punched her and I'll get between them and maybe there'll be a fight. You know what I mean? But stop the whole thing from happening. I thought I'd really just calm it down. I'm generally pretty good with that. But when he pulled that out, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is happening. This is real. Okay.
How did that change just your past 2 weeks? Have you, what's going on in your mind?
You know what? It's making me look at situations a little differently with people. You know, I see a lot of people. You know, I'm in a million networking things. I run my own groups of this. I'm in all these different things I do. And, you know, I'm sure those people in their day-to-day life don't look like that'd be the situation they're in. That was something I thought about, like a couple of days later. Mm-hmm. That's the moment that they're in there. And I'm sure something happened to lead up to that, right? But I started thinking, I'm like, wow, I wonder what else is going on for people that I do know or people that I see weekly or bi-weekly. What if somebody else is in this situation? There's nothing I can know about it or do about it, really, but it just made me think about it because, you know, I'm sure if I saw those people, you know, on Monday out at a restaurant, I wouldn't know anything, you know?
No.
So it's pretty insane what kind of secondary secret part of everybody's lives people have.
Is it inspiring you to do anything? Take action, or you haven't gotten that far yet?
No, not in that sense. Like generally what I do is like my job is to connect people, connect things together, and then bring positivity, like bring the light to the community, bring everything good. This is a family magazine and people don't have to subscribe to it. There's certain routes it goes to directly. So because of that, it has to be safe anyway. Yeah. So I can't do heavily political. I can't do religious, you know, nothing really negative. I'm fine with that. I'm so sick of that sort of stuff in the world anyway.
So I like doing the to go that's like neutral. Yeah.
Bro, I love making people happy. I love what I'm doing, being places, meeting people, getting involved in things, not knife fights, but you know, getting involved in things.
I'm going to segue this.
Sure.
Because there's a great segue and then we can go a little bit more positive if you're open to that.
Totally.
Okay. You were in a wrestling match on purpose for your business, Wayne Lifestyle.
Yeah.
I want to know two things. Number one is I want you to tell the story, but the first thing before you get into the story, did you use any of your training from that wrestling event on the guy that you had to intervene on the domestic violence?
It's funny you said it. It wasn't training from that event, but I wrestled in high school and college. My son's 14. He wrestles for the last 3 years, and I work with him at home. And working with him at home reminded me of all different moves. 100%. Once I had the wrist, I hit him twice. My takedown was essentially like a hip toss.
Pull the wrist down,
roll hip toss, elbow in his throat. And I remember being up on my toes, which is, you know, when you try to pin somebody, being on your toes. And I thought to myself, like, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it was just like a normal, like a collegiate type wrestling match. It was funny. So I think this story is great because I think that, you know, the people who are listening to it, they're going to get a couple of things. Obviously, the humor of it's great, right? The landing of it is fantastic. But there's a couple of things that I think people can start to relate with their own business and how they think about things. So please, you got to get into this. All right. So I was at one of my networking groups, and this was, I don't know, let's say in March. It was March of this past year of 25. And everybody goes around and says, you know, about their business, what they're looking for. And I told everybody, and I said, I'm looking for something for my July issue cover, which is Explore. It's like the theme of that month. Each month has its own theme. And I said, I want something very action-oriented, very pictorial. And somebody had brought a guest, and a couple people after I talked, the guest was speaking. He goes, oh, my name's Anthony Cole. I own a professional wrestling organization. And he goes, I'm looking for exposure. I kind of leaned to the side. He leans to the side, and we're like, hey, let's talk, you know, which was perfect. So we're talking later that day, I think it was. And I'm going through what the story can be with him and all this sort of things. And I asked him at one point, I go, hey, how many people go to your matches? I don't know what independent wrestling, you know, attendance is like. He's like, like 200 to 250. In my head, I'm like, oh, that's small. Because what do I know? I only know like Madison Square Garden, you know, Hulk Hogan when I was young. And he goes, but we live streamed to 16 million people. I'm like, whoa, okay. And so the wheels start turning in my head. So at the end of our conversation, he goes, hey, how much are you going to charge me for this? Now, Anthony didn't know we don't charge for stories. But I'm like, bro, I'm not going to charge anything under one condition. He goes, what? I go, I get a match at one of your next events. He goes, what? I go, in the ring. He goes, what, are you out of your mind? Yeah, maybe. I go, but I have a few stipulations. I have to be Phil Barone, publisher of Wayne Lifestyle, no stage name for it or anything. I need you to give me somebody to train me professional moves and how to do this. And then I need a little bit of time to
Practice.
get in shape, practice, and no weapons, no chairs or ladders or anything crazy. And he's like, yeah, okay. He goes, how about you come to me with a storyline that makes any sense? And I would consider it. I'm like, challenge accepted. I'm pretty creative with what I do. So it was like 4 days later, send him a text, like, call me, got a storyline. We talk, we go over it. He goes, that's the best effing storyline I've ever got.
So what's the storyline?
Storyline was because I was legitimately doing this article. The guy that brought him as a guest, was also one of his commentators for one of the matches every time they have a match. And so he was the connecting person for us. So the idea was, I'm going to go and be a guest commentator because of the story we're doing. And then Kevin, the guy that brought him as a guest, is going to bring it up during one of the matches that I'm guest commentating with. And Kevin got upset that he wasn't included in the story because I told him, like, yeah, I just turned everything in for it. And it'll be in our July issue. And he's like, wait, what do you mean you turned it in? You didn't even talk to me. I'm like, well, Kevin, listen, it wasn't about you. The commentator was the wrestlers and Anthony, the owner. And he got a little upset about it. And he starts ripping on the magazines. He actually throws one in the ring mid-match. And he hits one of the wrestlers who turns around like, what the heck? And I tried to calm him down. He got very upset and then eventually challenged me to their match at the end of July. And I was like, dude, we're friends. Don't do this, whatever. And he just kept going. And he got a little too rambunctious for himself. I'm like, you know what? You're on. I'm going to kick your butt. That's how we're doing this. And so Anthony, the owner of the league, I said, look, put me in with somebody that will help you, that you're having them train me. So he had the idea of this gentleman, Azriel, who is amazing. There's no chance I could have done this without him. But even if I had other teachers. And Azriel was my number 2 then because he trained me. He came in with me. Well, if I won the match, which I did, I get to move on to their Grand Dragon Rumble, which is like a Royal Rumble. And I'm like, I am never doing this again. Like that, it took a lot out of me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I was able to appoint Azriel as my replacement. And so Azriel then was back in the fold with this wrestling organization. Anthony got a good wrestler back in place, got a storyline that played in a lot of places. I had my part of it. It was a blast. And I am so shocked at how real this stuff is. I'll tell you, they show like people doing a chop, like they hit against the chest.
Yep.
There is no pull on it. That hits as hard as somebody can hit. And the guy, Kevin, who challenged me, Kevin goes, I'm not wrestling. So Kevin appoints somebody because he was injured, right? So Kevin appoints.
So he had a proxy and you didn't.
Dude, I'm in the ring. Kevin comes out with a limp and a cane. And he's just talking trash.
Totally playing it off.
Yeah,
It's
he goes,
fantastic.
so I got somebody to wrestle me. He goes, Adonis Stone. I'm like, what? This guy comes out like, I'm wrestling him? Seriously? He hit me in the chest the first time. I go, oh my God. He goes, under his face, he goes, okay, go, yeah, just go. I couldn't breathe almost the rest of the match. It was insane. It was a blast. I can't believe I did it. I told Anthony, you got to pay me $1. He's like, why? Because I want to be a pro wrestler for one match and not just have had a wrestling match.
So that's super creative. I mean, you took an opportunity out of like thin air. Yeah. You created this opportunity. What was the exposure that you had gotten for Wayne Lifestyle? How did that play out for you?
Sure. So the exposure happened in a lot of places. Number one, now the wrestling world, I'm going to say it's weird, the wrestling world knew about my magazine, which the conversations I had with people outside of the wrestling world helped me bring on new clients because I talked to some and they're huge wrestling fans. I was on 25 different wrestling podcasts. Some of them pretty big. And some people, I could be getting a text from somebody like, oh, check out this podcast. I'd pull it up and it's me they're talking about. I'm like, what the heck is happening?
That's amazing. What's just for context for the listener, talk a little bit about what Wayne Lifestyle so people can draw the correlation, because there really is no correlation between, wrestling and Wayne Lifestyle and how you thought that was going to work out for you.
It is not a wrestling magazine. Okay. So it is a luxury community magazine. And so we distribute to all the affluent homes in Wayne, Fairfield, Montville, and Towako every month. And then like 880-ish businesses, a separate subscriber list for people that aren't on those routes. So we got over 88,000 readers a month on it at this point for the physical side. There's digital as well, social media as well. And It's a family-friendly community magazine. It's good stories of things going on, good people should know. It's bringing light to the community.
What inspired you to do this?
It's funny, man. This is not my first
business. Because I know
business.
this has been a couple turns, twists and turns in your...
There definitely has. This is not my first business. Well, I started out wanting to be a broker. So I went to go interview at like Merrill Lynch and all those places at that point, like you have no experience.
Oh, stockbroker.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like, go get a job somewhere for a little bit and come back to us. I was working at Siemens Furniture, and there was a woman came in literally the week after all my interviews that I got turned down. It was like three interviews. And she wanted a sofa and love seat only. That was all she looked for. And she came out of there at the end with 2 full rooms of everything. And she's like, I don't know how this happened. She goes, but oddly, I'm not at all upset. She goes, I'm impressed. She goes, have you ever thought about working in finance? I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, seriously, is this a joke? I just was interviewing. And so I went to work at First Union, which I think became Wachovia while I was there, and Wells Fargo later. I started there. I had to go get some of the licensing, sell mutual funds. So it's this 66s. I honestly don't remember what it is. I know how to get my life insurance, and I think it was the 66, if I'm not mistaken. I did that for a year, went to work at Payne Weber then, got the 7, and got a couple more there, and was there for 9/11. I was only like 6-7 months in when 9/11 happened, and we were in the Paramus office, and everybody was in one office, and we turned and kind of looked at each other when that first building fell, and I said to the guys that were new with me, I go, we're done. Like, there's no way somebody new is going to recover from this. I knew it. And it wasn't good for anybody there. And so I was out of that and like, oh no, this has been my thought for years. And so I just stayed in sales, and I worked at a freight forwarding company that was in Kearney, and I helped build them up, was a salesman, moved up to sales manager. Thermo Fisher Dynamics down in Swedesboro, New Jersey, Fortune 500 at that point. They were our biggest client. And eventually they said, we don't know why we're paying you guys all this money to do our clinical air trials. We'll just buy your company. And I was sitting there thinking, I've been thinking that for months. They wanted to move down to Swedesboro. Wasn't doing it. Just got married, my wife and I, and just had our first kid and my daughter. And so I was living in Sussex County. And I was like, well, I helped build that pretty well.
Yeah,
I'm going to start my
Sussex
own.
to Swedesboro. That's the exact, just for people who are listening, it's the exact top and bottom of New Jersey.
Very northwest tip, very southeast tip. And we would have had to move. It just wasn't happening. And so I said, well, I'm going to start my own freight forwarding company. What am I, an idiot? There's no way that's going to work on your own, But I was really working hard. I had that, and I had a domestic truck brokerage for both of them. And it was me doing everything. I was at a client and big warehouse, also in Kearney, called for a big meeting, go up these stairs that are almost 90 degrees, it feels like. And with this meeting, he introduced me to other people. He goes, oh, this is my other broker, Ed. And I'm like, why would you have another freight broker here? Turns out Ed is a clothing broker, back-end clothing broker. He finds somebody has used shoes or used clothes, match somebody else that wants them, they'd give him some money on the back end. We somehow talked. I'm like, I didn't know that. I go, what truck lane are you using? He goes, what? Where do you get your clothes from? I'm like, huh? Okay, we're not in the same business. Cool. Let's do some work together. He's like, because if I could have the freight covered, I don't lose the business after those guys develop a relationship for a while. Yeah. I'm like, I need more business. I own it myself. So we do that. After a couple months, I'm like, dude, we have something here that's going really well. Let's figure it out. We spent a couple months to figure out how to open our own company. That the day we opened it, we were at a Chinese food place for lunch. Both got lunch specials. We're going over the names of potential names for the business when the bill comes. Neither one of us could pay the full bill for 2 lunch specials, which is pathetic. And he's like, what other names you got? I'm like, 2 poor boys? He's like, what? I'm like, poor boy trading? He's like, ooh, that's pretty good. We started the business, literally opened it the next day, active. And I made more that next day than I had made over the previous 2 to 3 weeks in my own businesses. And it exploded from there. So a little over a decade, we did essentially 80 million in business. My partner was not a good person.
So 0 to 80.
0 to 80.
What was the swing like? How did that growth curve look like? What did you do to get it from point A to point B?
We had our roles. He was sales. I was operations. And because of my background in freight, we were one of the few people in that whole industry that could also handle the freight properly and not get it all screwed up or not know how to respond to people. We could price it in properly. In the entire world, we grew to at one point being the number 2 in the entire world in terms of sales, which is crazy. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And moves, sales each month, that sort of thing. And time came, I was suspecting a few things from my partner, not doing a lot of the right things. And I was accurate. And him and his pretty new wife went in and stole operating money and stole business and disappeared. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And I said to my wife, like, look, we have 24 employees, 450 suppliers, thousands of buyers. It's all set up. I need seed money. So I took retirement money to pay for things. I paid for shoe loads, which are the most expensive, 5 shoe loads all over the place. They could be 33,000 a load, but you can make like $3,000 each, it's up to, and, or a little over. And then COVID hit. And one of the first things the government required was the destruction of donated goods. And that closed all but 2 of my shoe centers. I lost all but 2 of my loads of money. Oof. I was like, now I don't have a business and I don't have retirement money. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was a wreck. And I was looking for jobs online. Nobody wants to hire a business owner. It's normal. I understand that. We're not going to listen to what they have to say. And we're going to have our own idea. And they're right. But one day I was looking, I saw something about the corporate side of the company you can get the franchise from. I started this one. And I blew it off. I was just in a bad mood, as I was every day. And my wife woke up that night. It was like 2:30 in the morning. I'm sitting up on the side of the bed. She goes, what are you doing? I go, I got to check something out. I'll be back. It's nothing. I guess my mind calmed down so I could think about it. And when she got up a couple hours later for regular time for work, 5:30 or so, I'm still in the office at the desk. She goes, what's going on? I go, I know what I'm doing next. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to spend the whole day looking into it. Every aspect of this business is something I've actually done. I just never had to pull it all together. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, I have a lot of experience. So when I go into a business, I'm happy to be like, how can I help? Sometimes it's listening to their problems. Mm-hmm. It could be that. Sometimes it's the advertising. Sometimes it's, hey, I think you're taking the wrong moves doing this, or you're missing your opportunities. Let's discuss it. I love helping people. And I get a kick out of being involved in all the different things, going to different events, So
when you say you're talking to the business owner, is that in like a consultative function? Are you
both ways?
Are you really talking about the business, or are you focusing mainly on the growth and revenue engine and what your Wayne Lifestyle can do for them?
So I at first did everything based on what Wayne Lifestyle can do for them. And that was absolutely the wrong move, because all I was doing was I was in there trying to sell. Mm-hmm. And I brought people on board early on when I didn't know better that absolutely should not have been advertising with me. Maybe geographically it's wrong, but more often than not, this was not the time in their business to do it. So now I go in, literally, how can I help you? Do you need contacts for this? I tell everybody, just think of me, anything you need except for saying, bring me customers. That'll happen on its own. I want to give them ideas that can increase their sales. I want to give them how they can meet more people. Come with me to all these different networking things, or what's the time available you're able to do. You want to throw something into the magazine? Maybe I'll include you in a story for something. Whatever I can do to help them, it's the right move, because now I'm not picking and choosing who I'm helping and only the ones that are advertising. The ones advertising are going to get a lot more attention, an awful lot more attention, and they're going to get the priority and everything. And I can't realistically help the people that are in competing industries to my advertisers. Mm-hmm. I just can't do it. It's the wrong move. I'm a jerk then,
Yeah.
But I will still offer them advice. I just won't include them in anything in the magazine. I can't. Whatever it really needs. A lot of times it's, hey, yeah, you said you're having trouble getting rid of these. I know a guy that can buy this. I know a guy that can do that. You need this? Come with me. I'll walk into his door.
So what pivoted in your mind or in your life where you were, I need to get revenue, I need to get clients. And then you said, no, you know what? Let me give first.
Yeah.
Before I start asking, let me earn the right. Let me provide value. What was the mind shift? What happened in that moment when you started to do that?
That's actually a really good question that a lot of people don't understand. And my circumstances of it made it very clear to me. So I was like an idiot who launched during COVID, or was attempting to launch during COVID. So I'm going around with a mock magazine. It just says Wayne Lifestyle with some random photo. None of the things in there are related to me, the area, or anything like that. And I'm going to when 80% of the businesses are closed. The other 20 don't know if they're going to be here tomorrow. I'm like, what about advertising? Advertising contract? And so where normally people are launching in like 3 months. Right now, somebody I referred in, they started their own magazine. They launched in a record time. It was like 31 days. It took me 10 months to launch. Why? Because I focused on sales. Yes, I know it was a limited audience for me that time, but I focused on sales. And so I did launch. And then it was really hard to get more people on board. I sat there at these low numbers, in terms of monthly advertising revenue, super low numbers. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I need to focus on how to make the magazine better. That was actually my first thought. And I focused a lot of time on what would be interesting for this.
At that moment, where were you feeling the most resistance? Like when you look at your business and if you try to transport yourself back to that version of you, where were you seeing the most resistance that you knew, maybe I need to focus on this, maybe I need to focus on that? Where was the tight spot?
When I'm running well at this, almost every one of my things are a one call close. Go and meet somebody, we sit down somewhere, coffee or at their office or whatever the heck it is, and we go over everything. And at the end, they're like, you know what? Yes, let's do this. Boom. I leave with the signed contract. And I've always been that way my whole life. And I was realizing almost everybody's like, okay, send me an email. Okay, follow up with this. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I started thinking about my sales process and what I was saying. And I'm like, no, I'm saying right things, even though I didn't really know what I was saying.
Yeah.
Because I didn't, I just started, right? Yeah. But then I realized I'm pushing the wrong people. I went back and looked at all the appointments that turned into be nothing. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have seen this person. Here's why. Here's this. Oh, they can't do this yet. They should do something else before this. They should have done this. I messed that one up, or I didn't get them to understand properly. But most of the time it was me literally just pushing the sale when it shouldn't have been the case.
So you took the moment to actually be reflective.
Yes, I'm very reflective of myself. I'm very hard on myself. I get excited once I figure out something stupid I'm doing, something I'm doing wrong. But I understand myself pretty well. So I don't mind looking and be like, okay, where am I screwing up? Ooh, I could have done that better, right? Yeah, that sort of thing. The way it goes right now, I legitimately enjoy my day. I'm loving this. I love talking to people. I love being involved with something. Maybe it's my ADHD. I probably couldn't work long-term sitting with you as a co-host, but to sit there and figure out where can we work together at the moment? What can we do together? That really, I start to get like the creative juices flowing. Let's talk about this. Oh, what's your tagline? Okay. Just going through the whole thing. I love that.
Hey guys, Bobby Mascia here. I wanted to just take a second to thank everyone who's been tuning into Business Unchained since day one. This community, it means a lot to me. And I'm super excited to finally be able to share a big project that I've been working on for some time now, which is my book, Unchained, the raw truth about entrepreneurship, family business, and life balance. It's part memoir, part roadmap, and it just dives deep into my story, the experiences, the mistakes, and the lessons that have shaped how I think about building a business and life. Everything I talk about on the show is rooted in that journey, and in the book, I dig that much deeper. Unchained's available now. Grab your copy through the link or the show notes, or head over to bobbymascia.com. I appreciate you all, and I'm now taking you back into the show. Thank you.
I mean, so far I've heard a lot of really creative things, right? It started with the wrestling story.
Yeah.
Maybe it actually started with the intervention. I don't know, but somewhere along the lines, I got to ask this question of, you built this thing.
Yeah.
And you've had to pivot, you've had to change, coming off of a bad instance with a partner. COVID happens, you shut down your new spot. You've done some, self-reflective work to improve yourself, to get this thing off the ground. Now that you're here and you say you really know yourself, what would you identify as your superpower? Like, what is it that you think got you to this point that you are going to completely repeat and see all the success from? Where do you find like your pocket
Absolutely.
is?
I've been asked this a bunch.
Then I don't want to ask it.
No. But I don't get right. Not on podcast though. But I get asked person. Quite frankly, I have a very high level of empathy, so I get what somebody is feeling. So I understand their feelings really well. So people be sitting there talking to me, and I could literally kind of get the feeling that they have while they're talking. It's almost more important than the words, because a lot of times it tells a story behind it, or what's real as opposed to what everybody wants to present to everybody. Mm-hmm. And if you can understand what somebody feels, you can understand how to correct that or how to help get them past that or to avoid it. I make friends easy. My employees used to call me. They had a thing on my door, a little sign said the chameleon, because it's unbelievable. You can go anywhere and you are immediately a friend in the middle of the group as if they've known you for like a decade. And it's literally just understanding people and understanding how they feel.
How did you uncover that?
This one's crazy. So I was 19 years old and I was driving to work one morning in the summer between school years. And there's a guy had a Penske truck, 18-wheeler rental, and he fell asleep and he drifted. He was on a road he shouldn't have been on. And I was going over a little, like a bridge where it kind of thins out a little. He's not supposed to be on the bridge. It's too wide. And even though he's on it, he's drifting over. There's nothing I can do. He ran over every set of tires over my car. And it crushed my car. Thankfully, nobody else was in it because the wheels really went where the passenger was. I was under the truck. They had to cut me out of the car. The guy kept going because he was asleep. They found him an hour or 2 hours later. Somebody tried to follow him and they lost him, which is weird. They found him because my bumper was jammed in his grill. And we had a year where I couldn't walk. And another year where I could only jog then after a year and then run after a year. Still to this day, I have complete pain in a lot of places on me. But I went from being just a physical person. I was sports. I didn't care about thinking. I didn't care about any of that. I was soccer, wrestling, baseball, high school and college. And this is after my second year of college. I didn't get to go back. I never finished school because by the time I was out of that whole problem, life was there. I needed money. I needed to recover. So my days were spent thinking instead of, pushing, let's say, right? And I started watching things and started to understand. I'm like, oh, I get that concept. Oh, I understand that. Wouldn't it be better this way? Look at that guy. He's saying this, but he means this. And all of a sudden I start to realize, well, not to brag on this, I'm pretty smart. Oh, and I'm pretty understanding of people. And I never would have had that happen if it wasn't for that car accident. So, it's that whole, listen, that stinks. It's affected my life forever. But look what's come out of it. And even if I take away my own things that have come out of it, the people I've helped, even in my poor boy, right? We raised $27 million for charities. $27 million we did in there. Goodwill, wow. Salvation Army, St. Vincent de Paul, all those charity chains. We made that much money for them. And then what I do for different people and different organizations here, I work a lot with different special needs organizations. I do stuff with the schools big time. So look at what's happened, the people that I've able to help because of the car accident.
It's amazing how, we talk a lot about the twists and turns that life gives you that you feel like it's taking you off target and off your path.
Yeah.
And it actually puts you where you need to be.
There's no chance I'd be sitting somewhere today smiling. There's no chance of that. I would be working some stupid job that I hated, making whatever I made, good or bad, didn't matter. I wasn't going to be a Major League Baseball player. What would I be doing? Maybe I'd still be selling furniture. I don't know. I'm smiling today, bro.
That's all you need to do is smile.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
So Wayne Lifestyle Now, you're telling me a little bit about the publication. Tell me, where are you taking it? Who do you want to have in front of it? Where do you see this thing? Because it's been your baby.
Yep.
And you've been through different iterations of thinking about how to grow this thing, all the way to, jumping in a wrestling match. Where do you see this thing going? And your impact?
The impact, where I wanted to go for actually Wayne Lifestyle is to increase my distribution and even a town or two in there. I got to get the ad revenue up a little higher to do that. Then I also am intending on opening a second magazine because once you hit a certain threshold, you can move to another one. And that'll probably be Montclair. That's where I'm thinking of going for that. So the way I'm doing that is I've taken like quarter page ads off my media kit. I used to sell a lot of quarter page ads. And when you have a lot of those, it looks bad. It looks like more ads than you have. So if you take the quarter page ads out, now all of a sudden everything else just looks a little bigger. Now just third page ads are my half page ads, but I'm doing more full page ads. That's a bigger look. That's a better look. So I have things I'm working on. I'm working on something with attempting to finish setting something up with the Yankees right now. Something else with the Giants I'm trying to do. Organizations that are larger, certain celebrities, people that I can fit things into. You're going to be the first place I've said this. I am right now attempting to try and get Neil deGrasse Tyson to do something with me. I haven't even spoken with him yet. I've sent some stuff because I have a perfect idea which fits into exactly one of his podcasts that would fit into the idea of networking and, you know, being a great neighbor and all this sort of stuff, connecting the two. I think it'd be awesome. You know, I want to take the growth I've had, because we started like 54,000 readers, now over 88. That's awesome. The digital side's growing as well. I want to take my readership to bigger places. I want bigger names. I want bigger organizations. You know, Miss New Jersey Beauty Pageant. Great. That's awesome. We're their official magazine. You know, there's an international one that contacted me recently. Like, hey, we'd like you to be our official magazine. I'm like, well, I don't pay anything, just so you know. They're like, no, we know. That's fine. We want you to have it because they feel I do the right thing for them. Certain influencers. Now I've grown past trying to find those guys that are 20,000 followers. You know, now I'm almost not really that interested if they're not 500,000, a million, you know, something like that, because that's how I'm going to be able to grow it. It's not so much just the content. It's the look to everybody else and the other advertisers. Look who you're involved with. I'm not the everyday person, or I won't remain the everyday person. Let's grow this together.
What does your readership get out of that when they open up the magazine? What do you see the ultimate experience being for them, where they are today?
Sure.
And where that takes their experience?
That's actually really good. It's a lifestyle magazine. So when you have a lifestyle magazine, it's never one direction for articles. They got to go different ways. So you have to have funny ones, heartfelt ones, informative, some business, some have nothing to do with business. I make sure only about 40% typically of my stories are advertisers. I don't want to be advertorial. I don't want those sort of things swayed. So we try to give them things that fit each month's theme, because they'll be like the women's issue, the give thanks issue, food, style. You know, there's all different themes, health and wellness. So everything fits to each month's theme, but then from different avenues. Sometimes we've had stories like, you know, what mom left me. You know, and it's the story of our mother. I had my editor also write his own thing there. Best advice from dad, which was odd that probably about a third of them were things I couldn't put in the magazine. But so, you know, you want these things that bring people back. I did something with some pretty prominent people in the area that I was like, what was your favorite gift as a kid during the holidays? And it was unreal to see Chris Vergano, mayor of Wayne, sit there, look off under the wall, and then his face just changes. He's a little kid, and he starts talking about his bike he got in 1957. I forget what year it was, right? 63. I don't remember the year. Sorry, Chris, if you're listening. But like that moved me. And so I wanted to show something about that. And then I went online and found photos of each thing somebody said, of these people said. So then I'm giving out the issues to them. And almost everyone, not everyone, but almost every one of them like started crying, you know? And if you can bring emotion to somebody, you've done your job.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's inspiring. Sometimes it's fond remembrance. Sometimes they want to be better. You know, it's nothing negative. We're not dragging anybody back, but you got to find the different ways to make somebody better. And you don't know which way applies to somebody, but you want to help everybody. You know, and you don't want to look the same each time. So I pull in different people to write for me. I have a main writer, my editor, Don, but I allow certain people to write their own little stories. The ones that are not about them, it's like something focused on the business they're involved in, a little vice or life part they're involved in. And then I have other writers write things. So you have different voices, different looks on it. And some months it's beautiful, man. It really is.
What inspires the themes?
So the themes are actually given out by the corporate side. So, but there's an interpretation level to it. You know, thankfulness, November. Well, how do you want to do that? That's so open to interpretation. Explore, which is July. It doesn't have to be explore a physical location. It can be explore your mind, explore a new method for this, a new activity, explore old friendships. Like, you know, those sort of things. You got to take the twist to not be what the theme is so presently trying to show itself as.
So multidimensional.
Yeah, man.
I love it.
Because everybody's going to do the food issue, you know? But how does food move you? You know, what's the one food you can have when you're little that you have no chance of getting anymore, and who made it? You know, it's those. We do a food recipe every month. And sometimes it'll be personal ones that I have or somebody in my, if you want to call it staff, everybody kind of helps me out. Sometimes it'll be food bloggers, restaurants. I've put polls out on Facebook moms groups. Hey, it was like our home issue one year. I want everybody's best quote unquote home meal, meatloaves, stew, and I forget what the third one was. I got these fantastic recipes. And some of them are like great stories that go with it, or they did it with their kid, and the photos of their kid with like trying to do this. It's like, oh my God. Like,
if you could draw somebody in for the story and then give them the recipe.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot more impactful than just being like, hey, you should try this new insert food there. Because
it's going to bring a lot of attention to whoever made it, because they're going to save it and they're going to look at it like 3 or 4 times. They're going to go to get the ingredients. They're going to cook it, depending on what it is. They're going to screw it up. Try to make it again, share it with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of these restaurants have gotten a ton of business out of just the food recipe. 1 month I didn't have a food recipe. This is 4 years ago. And I got hundreds of emails from readers like, that range from everything. How dare you to, are your kids okay? And I'm like, what? Like the amount of work this magazine is, something's wrong with my kids because I didn't get a food recipe in, you know? I told my editor, never missing a food recipe again.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So you're making a real impact in your community.
Yes.
You're able to bring eyeballs onto this thing, bring good advertisers in to help push the message and continue the efforts. How do people find you?
You mean physically locate me? Or you mean, what do they think of me? That's fine. It's different. You know?
That's really
They
funny.
find you annoying? No, that's not it.
I find you funny. No, for the listeners that are saying, "Hey, listen, I want to get an issue. I want to see what this is all about." How do they find you?
Sure. So if you go to right, I'm not wrong. No, that's 2 ways you can interpret it. But so Wayne Lifestyle Mag, MAG, Wayne Lifestyle Mag. That's our social media handle. City Lifestyle /Wayne is how you get to our site. You can literally just look up Wayne Lifestyle Magazine. We will obviously be there. You can contact us all different ways. Feel free. Everything's in there. The emails, everything's in there. Send me a message. I talk to people all the time. It's very rare I get a reader that ever doesn't want the magazine. I've had like 4 of those. Mm-hmm. One was the person died. It was the family taking it over. Like, we don't want this. One, they get it, their business and their home. The other 2 people were just a little cranky. So, all right.
That happens.
Take them off. But I talk to people all the time. Emails, text messages people send me. I don't go to people's houses, but I will meet somebody at restaurants or at a public function, that sort of thing. I have an absolute super fan. His name's Brian. Brian writes to me, physical letter, pretty much once a week, calls me anywhere from 2 to 4 times a day most days.
Really?
Yeah. Brian was in a bad car accident. So he has a brain injury. He loves wrestling. He saw the issue with me in it, I saw the issue with me in it, I think at a doctor's office, and immediately took to me. He's the sweetest guy. I went and met him at a random wrestling match. I said, I'll meet up with you there. And I didn't know who this company was. I had no clue who was there. And we're sitting there together, sweet guy. And all of a sudden out walks Azriel, the guy that trained me.
Get the hell out of here.
And I said, like, oh my God, Azriel. And he looks at me, he's like, holy hell. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, come on, get this match. It was fantastic. It's really rare I go somewhere and I don't know somebody there, even out of the area. And I dig that.
It's funny, right?
It's very cool.
It goes back to that. It's a small world.
Yes.
Well, listen, I love what you're doing. I love the fact that you have that give first mentality and the creativity around some of the things that you're doing. If you're in the area, not in the area, if you're working with your business or thinking about like how you can, maybe make some shifts, can people reach out to you?
100%. That's more of my conversations than sales. And I hope nobody like on the franchisor side listens to that. Most of my conversations are supposed to be sales, right? But that's more my conversation because that's the real me. You don't know what to do? Ask me. Let me help you, Somebody at my old company, a poor boy, one of the girls there that worked, she had, those like Jesus fish things. She had a piece of taped Post-it and it said, WWPD, what would Phil do? So I laughed at that because people come to me for advice on things. I have no problem with it. Let me give you what I think. And I'll tell you where I don't know either. I'm not sure. My first thought is this, though. Let's call somebody. I know somebody that's an expert at that. Let's do that. I get to know a lot of people.
I love
a
that.
lot of people. Yeah.
Well, dude, it was an honor to have you here,
Oh, it's a
man. I
pleasure,
really
man.
appreciate the time. And I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Come on, get in the ring with me.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Bobby Mascia here. If you've been listening to Business Unchained, you know we're creating conversations that matter, real stories and strategies to help business owners and entrepreneurs win. We've been putting a lot of work into these episodes in our online community, bringing you content that can actually move the needle for your business. And we're everywhere: Instagram, LinkedIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, TikTok, you name it, we're there. So look, if you're getting value from what we're doing, please follow, subscribe, and drop a quick comment or like. It really helps us grow this thing. Just search Business Unchained and you'll find us everywhere.